Welcome back to the Kildrummy CostCasts. Today we're going to be talking about connectivity. This follows on from requests from our user community and others, saying that following on from the previous CostCast that we did around using spreadsheets for cost management, talking a little bit more in detail about connectivity and how connectivity and the ability to connect your project data more effectively can actually bring value and more effectiveness to your projects. So first of all, what we're going to look at is when we talk about connectivity and project data, which is a complex data source, what are some of the challenges that we face in order to deliver that connectivity? Then moving forward from there, we'll look at, well, what types of project data are we looking to integrate or work with or connect? Also then looking forward to, well, what other types of data integrations and data connectivity could be beneficial for projects? And then finally looking at a suggested solution of how we could actually manage data in a more connected, data-centric way in a cost management solution. So with that, let's move forward. So first of all, let's look at the challenges. Well, clearly disconnected data is an absolute headache for any project controls system, any project controls team. Looking at the disparate sources of data, being able to try to work out which of these is the correct source of information, which is the correct one, trying to avoid manual rekeying, which clearly is not the most effective way of doing things, but trying to actually really improve the connectivity of that data. And that's one of the challenges that we face on projects all the time. So what are some of the key areas where we could look to improve? Well, first of all, when we think about information silos, clearly, if we have information sitting in disparate systems, that's going to create a communication barrier. If the data is not connected, how can I understand what is sitting in my finance system, what is sitting in my schedule system, what is sitting in my progress measurement system? And that will have a knock-on effect in other areas of the business. One of the key ones being not being able to make proactive decisions with the correct information coming from those disparate sources. Moving forward from there, when we talk about having to manually re-input things, clearly that is going to create a lot of inefficiency. It's going to create a lot of pressure in terms of having to manually rekey hundreds and hundreds of transactions. And that's not only is it laborious, but it's clearly going to create an option where there's going to be errors introduced into that process. Human beings, we make errors. It's one of those things. If we can try to eliminate that manual intervention, we can increase the accuracy, increase the quality of the data. But having to rekey things is really going to create a delay in the process. So as we then move on into the next part of the process is about respecting that single source of truth, respecting the source system that is creating the data so that we are not repeating the information from one system to another. What we're doing is reusing that information. So clearly one of the key things there is the master schedule coming from Primavera or Microsoft Project or whichever scheduling system it may be. And again, similarly with your ERP system for finance, with your contractor integrations for timesheeting, headcount forecasts, and also progress measurement. What we want to do is to leverage that data, not recreate it. So let's now move on and look at the types of data that we want to try and integrate. So the different types of project data with regards to different parts of the workflow. Clearly what we want to do is to have connectivity right from the very beginning of the project, from the concept right the way through to execution and completion. So that will include bringing in estimate information, bringing in information from the schedules, so the start and end dates, the progress measurement, etc. Also integrating for commitment information such as purchase orders, subcontracts and contracts, but also the invoices from an actual cost point of view. And in addition to that, we're looking at timesheets, so headcount information, being able to understand who are the people that are working on the project today, who are the people that are going to be working on a project tomorrow, next week, next month, etc. in order that we can create an end-to-end connected environment in order that we can have a more accurate forecast. So having looked at the typical data connections that we would look at, we can also look at some other further type of data connections that can add benefit and indeed save cost on projects. So let's have a quick look at that. In our recent CostCast, we've looked at how projects are managed in multiple systems, whether that be in a spreadsheet or in a database. And that has its own challenges, as we've visited and discussed before. However, when we look at portfolio management, there could be disparate systems for different sizes of projects that we need to bring together in a portfolio environment. So that's when we talk about a multi-project consolidation. In addition with that, then we need to look at how can we access this data from a mobile point of view, because nothing ever stands still. Projects are dynamic, and we need to be ensuring that we can connect different types of projects with the overall view from a portfolio point of view, but also from a mobile access point of view. So when we talk about multiple systems and multiple areas, multiple deployments, multiple different project types, that creates an internal and an external data challenge that we need to address. So one of the key things there is consistency. How can we ensure that we are consistent in the collation of the data, the consolidation of that data? And that's something that is very, very important when we look at trying to create a system that is a portfolio-enabled environment as well as an individual project environment. From the mobile access point of view, well, one of the key areas for mobile deployment is in the field. So being able to capture information from directly in the field, whether that be from our own supervisors, so in terms of progress reporting or indeed any other kind of headcount forecasts, or from the contractors. So being able to empower the contractors to share information with us in a connected environment that allows us to have a better reporting capability and a more realistic view of how the project is performing. So having looked at the challenges, looked at the disparate data sources that we're trying to connect, looking at other sources of information that could add benefit to us if we could connect with them, how can we actually deliver this better? What is a solution to this challenge? How can we integrate this information in a more professional, controlled, consistent and continuous way? Well, Kildrummy Cost Management absolutely is something that would deliver that solution for you. When we talk about an integrated solution, it's all about improving the manner in which we manage data. It's about improving how well we can integrate with those single sources of truth that we talked about before. It's also about improving the efficiency in how we integrate that data and bring that data in, which therefore, in improving that integration method, will increase the quality, it will increase the accuracy. And then what happens is when we start to produce the reports that are coming from that integrated data, it absolutely gives us credibility when we're producing these reports for management. So we spend more time actually analyzing those reports as opposed to questioning the data because it hasn't been well connected and well integrated. So let's look at what we're looking at here. The real environment that we want is an environment where each of us as individual stakeholders can share that information in an integrated way that improves communication, it improves decision making, and it allows us to share in a consistent way the information coming from those disparate sources, but in a connected environment. And that connected environment allows us to be able to share that information better in order that we can make proactive decisions much faster. So knowledge really is in the data. You know, the devil is in the detail, as has been said many, many times. Or, in this case, the knowledge is in the data. So we're looking at project data now in a much more connected environment. We're looking at being able to bring in project critical information about schedule, cost, actuals, commitments, multiple projects in different systems, so multiple reporting systems that you may have across your portfolio, timesheeting systems such as Track and Harvest, and many, many others. Being able to dynamically connect those allows us as cost engineers and project controls environment teams to really analyze the data as opposed to simply creating the data. And that to me is something that is very, very important. from the ability to deliver value for the project. And really then what that boils down to is taking those disparate sources of information, aligning them in a structured, consistent way in order that we can produce quality deliverables that empower decisions. They empower management and the senior teams to act upon the real status of what's going on our project. And that really is a key differentiator when you look at how can we improve project delivery and moving forward from project 1 to project 2 to project 3, looking at things like continuous improvement. That's a real key differentiator that allows your organization to improve project to project to project. So with that, I think that brings us to the end of today's session. We talked about connectivity. We've talked how we can take disparate sources of information and make them usable, powerful, reportable, and actionable in order that us as a project team can use those disparate sources and be able to be confident in the utilization of that information in a consistent and continuous way. And the next session that we will look at is then taking that connected information and looking at it from a reporting point of view. So how can we then start to analyze and use that information from a reporting aspect in order that we can empower, as I said before, the management team in their decision-making process. With that, I thank you very much. I would urge you to leave us a comment or by all means get in touch, and I look forward to talking to you in the next session. Thank you very much.